Right? So we have this philosophy that if we chant the holy names of the Lord, we'll be relieved from more sins than we could commit even in many, many lifetimes. So sometimes we take shelter of that, okay, we're committing so many mistakes, even offenses, upsetting others, then we're just going to go along with our sadhana and say, Hare Krishna.
No, because
we'll never be able to figure out and calculate all the mistakes that we made.
No, because if you're actually chanting the holy names of the Lord, you won't continue to make the same offenses. You should be able to rectify that mentality that caused these offenses. And the holy name is the most powerful antidote for, purifying our consciousness. If we're actually chanting. If we're chanting with offense, then it won't have the same effect. So a devotee should pray that, please forgive me if I've committed any offenses knowingly or unknowingly. They can offer prayers like that. And just like I was remembering one story by one very senior Vaishnavi in our society. She was chanting and she told the story in public as a class. She said, my chanting was really off. I couldn't chant. Then I was thinking, I must have offended somebody, and this is the reason why I can't chant. So she started praying. And then, after the prayer, the next day she got a phone call from one of her friends and saying, this lady, she really offended her son, and she's really angry at you. So after that prayer, it became clear where the offense was committed. So that was Krishna's arrangement. And then of course she apologized to the person. So there are different ways to, approach the wrong mentality through prayer, through chanting. And then the ultimate, of course, is that there's a place in Navadvip Dham called Koladvip. It's the ashram of Devananda Pandit, who had offended Srivas Thakur. And of course, he was forgiven, even by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And later, his ashram was designated as a place that if anyone commits any offense to Vaishnavas, you could go there, pray, chant, and get relief from the reactions. So, of course, that's not a way to continue the same mentality. It's just for those who sincerely want to get free from the reactions.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Maharaj, you mentioned that you can forgive, but sometimes not trust. My question arises out of a particular incident that I heard, and maybe some devotees can confirm this. There was a certain devotee who actually took Lakshmi from the temple, and he was actually caught pretty much with all the evidence, and they were going to turn him over to the police. And when Srila Prabhupada heard that, Prabhupada said, no, forgive him, don't call the police. And it happened more than once. That means he was trusted again and forgiven again. So I'm assuming that the higher the realization of a Vaishnava, yes, one can be forgiving and also one can be trusting. So can you kind of
You can.
reconcile?
Yeah, I mentioned that trust is again reinstated when a person has been shown to have changed in their ways. But if they haven't indicated that by their behavior, then you might be a little cautious to give that person the same facility where they can again. Yeah. Simply by forgiving a person doesn't mean that their tendency to do the same thing stops. Or even punishing a person doesn't necessarily mean. There has to be a change of heart. So Prabhupada didn't really want us to get involved with the secular society and make a big thing out of it. He wanted us to deal with it internally, which was the wise thing to do. Yeah.
How do you, like right now in society, there's such an uproar about child molestation that took place in Catholic
There's
Church.
something, I'm not catching all the words.
Right now there's a big uproar in society, not only in Catholic Church, but even here. There's an uproar about child abuse.
Yeah.
Very
Very
they try to
serious.
deal with it internally. So I'm just wondering, how do you reconcile?
Justice. That's justice. Offenders should be punished, yeah. You can't, forgiveness doesn't, what we say, negate justice. No. Because then, then where do we stand? Then there's no rules and regulations. Justice has to be there for the offender. There has to be some reaction. So in that case, using the example of child molestation, there is legal punishment that comes with that. And that's right. Even though the person whose child may have been offended may forgive the person, still that justice should be there. Otherwise, others will take advantage of that, and then it'll go on. I think we have an example. I think when Maharaj Parikshit saw the personality of bull being beaten by a low-class man, he was about to kill him. But then before he killed him, he asked the bull why. And the bull gave different reasons why he was suffering. Of course, that we're going a little bit away from your point, but the bull actually answered that one who actually blames the perpetrator of a wrong act also becomes implicated in the same reaction. And so, but Maharaj Parikshit did something. He banished, Kali from, the kingdom and told him he couldn't stay anywhere. Finally, he gave him one place where there was hoarding of gold. But he got a reaction. He couldn't stay anywhere in the kingdom. So justice has to be there when there is these offenses like that. Actually, Prabhupada said, it was actually Vishnu Jan Maharaj was talking about New Vrindaban. He said in New Vrindaban they have a justice system where if someone commits some discretion or breaks some rules of the community or commits some offense, they go before a board of elders and 10. Prabhupada said, very good system. Very good system. You can hear it on the tape. It was Vishnu Jan Maharaj. And so I think we had that many years ago. So then this board of elders, which are dealing with the situation in a compassionate but also in a shastric way, is a very good way to secure people's faith in living in a community, and also for those who do something wrong and they know they're going to do something, some reaction's going to come outside of the person who they offended. It's a good system. Prabhupada liked it. Yes, Madhuri. Let me know if I'm going over time here. We have about 5 minutes left.
You said that we do not trust the person because we don't want to be hurt again, right? But then it seems to me there's another level where we don't need to be hurt. There's this famous quote by Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj that when faults in others dilute you, you introspect, look within, because no one can harm you unless you harm yourself. So
You want to go on that level? Okay. That's pretty. Yeah, that's Vaishnava. That's the way we should be thinking. You gave us the ultimate principle. Where can we go from there? No one can hurt you unless you allow that. You have to look within yourself and seeing what is about you that's causing you to be hurt by that other person's activity.
Back here is a question.
But not everyone can follow that one.
So I was at home watching your class on Mayapur TV, and it started storming, and the power went out. So I left off maybe 25 minutes ago. So if
Welcome.
since the class is about forgiveness, you'll have to forgive me if I ask you something that you already covered.
I give you that forgiveness ahead of time.
I was thinking in our ISKCON history, we know that a lot of the people that have been appointed as gurus have had their difficulties, and so the disciples, their lives have been disturbed in certain ways. So, is there such a thing as forgiving the guru for deviating from the path, or does the disciple think, well, it's due to my offenses, it's due to my not following properly, that he couldn't bear the burden of my sin?
Interesting question. Well, if you take the second part, that it was due to me that he fell down, then it's all over. There's no problem with you anymore. So you've solved the whole mental anxiety that may have caused you to feel something different. But if it's, if other people are feeling the same way, when someone in that position does, and if it's obvious, it's maybe more than just that. But that's a very humble, and I say also, maybe in one sense correct, sometimes gurus or people in the position of gurus take on, out of concern and compassion for others, they take on a little bit too much. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu writes or it's quoted in Bhagavatam, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that one should not take on too many disciples. So then the question comes, well, what is too many? But that's not answered. That means more than one can actually make sure that they get whatever they need in order to make progress in the path of devotional service. But then there's that mood of compassion that, we want to give everyone a chance. So there's always this dichotomy between compassion and, where do I break, stop. Mm-hmm.
Finally, is there such a thing as devotee forgiving Krishna? Krishna is suffering so horribly, don't understand what I did to deserve this.
Well, there's a statement by Krishna. He said, this material world is a miserable place and you're suffering. You know why? It's because I set it up like that. He makes that statement. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that. Krishna says, this place is miserable, it's my fault. I arranged it. Why? Because I love you. I don't want you to stay here. That's the reason. So, forgiving Krishna, Krishna is spotless. There's no blemish on him. But sometimes he looks like he does something that requires us to forgive him. But that's only from our limited perspective. I mean, he broke his promise. He came charging after Bhishma Dev when he said he wasn't going to fight. So sometimes people say, well, it's better to worship Ram. Whatever he says, he does. But Krishna, his cane is crooked. You know, you never know what Krishna might do. And that's why he's called Hari. He just takes everything away. But still, it's perfect. But from our limited vision, it looks like something like unfair. Krishna's perfect. Okay, thank you. I don't want to break. I know we have a very rigid schedule. So thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Chandramauli Maharaj ki jai.